looking for this?
Welcome back to BoomShot. I'm Kel. This is Colby,
Yes, sir.
and we have seen Blue Beetle. And this movie it's in an interesting spot with where DC is also at an interesting spot. But we watched the movie last night, and so we're going to give you our thoughts. Spoiler warning: if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it and come back and watch this video, and let's jump into it. All right, we always usually start off with a question. What was your favorite thing?
In the past we've done the whole 10 things that make a movie great, and we rank each of them. I think the themes in this movie were well executed, mainly family.
Yeah.
I loved the family dynamic and how their bond was so strong. And that's really, to me, the heart of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it starts out, it looks like they sacrificed a lot for him to go to college.
Yeah.
So, I just love the whole family message there.
Yeah, he kind of feels a little bit guilty because they're in debt, and it's almost his fault in a way. So it kind of feels like he owes his family, and we see that kind of pay off later in the movie. I think my favorite part was George Lopez, man.
Oh yeah, he was incredible.
George Lopez killed me in this movie. He had a lot of funny lines. He was kind of like a father figure to Jaime. Jaime. Yeah, after Jaime's father passed away, so from a heart attack. So I think that I liked his character a lot. Plus, he was really funny.
Yeah, that's true. I think they had a good relationship. Like when Jaime found out that Blue Beetle's he has to die in order to get it out of him, and he went up to him and gave him the pep talk. Mm-hmm. That was a really good scene.
Kind of like an Uncle Ben type moment.
Yeah.
Except he didn't die, but Jaime's father did. So, getting into the more technical aspects of the movie, what did you think about the plot?
I in general, I would say I really enjoyed the first two acts. Pretty good bit. I mean, but the third act to me kind of fell a little bit flat. Felt a little generic. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like the family came in and saved the day, and the bug farts.
I feel like that's kind of a DC trope these days.
Which is cool. I mean, that was my favorite part, was the family dynamic. But
yeah,
I mean,
it just doesn't seem realistic.
Yeah, and also he kind of broke out himself, anyways. Mm-hmm.
So then, what was the point of them, coming to help?
Yeah, so I feel like it would have been cool to see him break out. I don't know, by himself, and then because I thought the final battle was pretty good. Yeah, but I don't know, it felt a little weird to me, the end of it.
Yeah. It's a pretty standard plot. He goes to school, comes back, his family is in debt. He's trying to get a job. He meets the rich girl for Cord Industries, and then whenever he goes to find her to ask about a job, he gets the Blue Beetle. So it feels pretty standard, and it's like him arguing with himself the whole time. Like, do I really want to become a superhero? Like, this isn't what I signed up for. So you have like the unwilling superhero type plot. I feel like it was pretty executed, pretty okay, but I've definitely seen better.
I think to me what this movie reminded me of, the first two acts especially, was Homecoming. Yeah. Because it was kind of focused on school, and like she was kind of like the popular girl, I guess. Mm-hmm. So that's what it reminded me of, and I don't know how he got his powers, which I guess we didn't see that much in Homecoming, but
yeah, I can see the comparison though.
Yeah. So I don't know. But I think Homecoming executed the end of the movie better. It made more sense. I guess to me the plot at the end just didn't make much sense.
Yeah, it was. I definitely didn't like when the family comes in. I just always feel like I don't even really like it in Shazam. Like, I know the Shazam League's kind of like a big thing in the comics, but I don't know. I feel like when you put so many characters who have all the kind of same powers on the screen, it kind of detracts from the main character. So, like, in Shazam League's case, like, they all have aspects of Shazam's powers. Whereas, and then, like, in Blue Beetle's case, they had, like, tech that resembled Blue Beetle's powers. I was like, just let the man, like, this is his origin story, and I know family's a big part of that, but, like, let them be the motivation, not the savior.
Yeah, I think our friend Jeremy Johns had a similar sentiment when I watched his review. He was saying, like, the first part was really good. Like, we got invested in the characters, their family, their struggle. Yeah. And then at the end, it kind of loses that, I feel like. Yeah. He said, and I agree, they kind of put the mask on, typical fight at the end. And then I guess the typical thing now is, like, the villain is more like the hero than you think. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Yeah, we don't see much evil villains anymore. There's definitely things they could have done better. I would probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10. That's where I'm sitting at with it.
Yeah, I agree.
I wasn't too like coming out of this movie. I wasn't too high on it. I mean, it's got a lot of great aspects, but there's some aspects to me that detracted pretty heavily. So I don't know where I'm at. We'll get to that at the very end. Next up is themes, and you already said that you love the theme of family. I think that was also executed very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, call me Fast and Furious.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I was thinking about. I was like, this movie kind of feels like Fast and Furious for other reasons, and then family.
Yeah, I think it was great, and also, I mean, when his dad passes away, I think that was, it was obviously a sad moment, but I think it was good for the movie, and I think they didn't really play off on that part of the movie as much as they could have.
Yeah.
I know they're like trying to they were saying we can cry later, but I feel like maybe they could have done like the family is mourning the loss of Jaime's father, and also Jaime because he's captured. Yeah. And then Jaime breaks out of it while they're still mourning maybe. And it's his big moment.
Yeah. That was what I really kind of felt like detracted is that he didn't get his big moment in a way. Like, the family was almost always there in a way to help him. And I'm like, sometimes you gotta let the hero overcome by themselves. But I really did like the family dynamic. Obviously, another big plot is redemption, or another big theme is redemption with the villain. We learned that his past is kind of what he forgot his past, and he was manipulated by a Victoria Cord.
Yeah, I wish we would have gotten to see more of that. I feel like he was kind of a faceless villain until the very end. It was like, whoa, you know what I mean? We saw that, which was, I think it was a good, motivation for him, obviously, and a good backstory. But we didn't see it until the very end of the movie. Yeah, and he didn't have really any.
It felt half baked, kind of, in a way.
Yeah, and I guess the why they did that is because he didn't have his memories until Blue Beetle gave him back. I guess, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like they could have gone more into that, so that way, when he turned, we would have felt more about it.
Yeah. Responsibility is another big theme. You're given these powers. How do you use them? Should you use them wisely? That's a big thing. I don't know. The themes were pretty good. They were pretty solid in this movie. I'm probably saying like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think it was very strong. I'd say like 8.5. I mean, I really enjoyed the loss of family too with Jenny, which I guess we see, her father's still alive at the end. But yeah, still, I mean, she had to struggle with that, and then she kind of, gets into a relationship with Jaime, and I thought that was really cool. Yeah, how she really had a hard life growing up, and then she got to see the whole family dynamic of Jaime, and I thought that was a neat.
Yeah, like kind of like the grass is greener, where they look to her side and they're like, you have everything, and she looks to their side and she's like, you have everything, and they're just like almost talking past each other. But now it's the best of both worlds because she's a part of the family and they've got her financial support, I guess. Next up is acting. What do you think about the acting?
I thought it was really good, man. I mean, it didn't take me out of the movie at all, really. I mean, I'm trying to think of any specific instances. I guess the part when they were sitting on the bed in her dad's like laboratory. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I thought that dialogue was very good.
Yeah, that was very good. I would say within the family, the acting was very solid. As for the villain, like you said already, he was kind of just this may be more of a character writing thing, but he was kind of just faceless, nameless, useless until the very end of the movie. I think that's probably more of a writing thing. I didn't really like Victoria Cord. I don't know why her character just didn't click with me. Also, that random scientist dude, whenever he lost the scarab, in the first act of the movie, I'm like, dude, the way that you're responding to this right now, you should be like actually crying because she spent 15 years looking for this thing and then you just lost it like it's nothing. Like, I feel like she should have killed him in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they could have executed the scenes better. Some of the actors could, but I feel like within the family, and of course, I'm no professional actor. This is just my opinion. Within the family, I think it was great. I thought, I think his name's Jolo Maraduena or something like that. Yeah. Whoever plays Blue Beetle.
We need to figure his name out.
I know his name. I just don't know how to say it.
Yeah, how to say his name. Yeah. Because he did a great job.
Yeah, Jaime did a great job. He's obviously from Cobra Kai. I think he did well. Jenny did well. Who else? Obviously, George Lopez is a star every time he's in a movie. So the dad was great. The mom was great. The sister was great. I really had no problem with them. It was more of like the other, like the B plot, like with the
and I think
villains.
that because all these actors are very capable, as we know, but I think, like you said, it comes down to writing a lot. Like they just didn't have enough to their character to really shine.
They felt very, especially the main villain with the OMAC suit. He felt so shallow. I don't know. Carpax, I think is his name. He felt so shallow to me. Until the very end, then you learn he has this whole deep backstory. But by that point, you're like,
I think we should have seen some of that earlier in the movie.
Yeah, and then Victoria Court. I don't know. She kind of felt shallow to me too. She had like a decent motivation, but also
I just feel like we didn't see enough motivation from the villains.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But as far as execution goes, I would say the family's good. The other side, meh. I'm kind of in the middle.
I think another thing is the humor that we usually talk about, which I think, and this is another thing our friend Jeremy John said, was that you put a seasoned comedian like George Lopez into this movie, all of his jokes are well timed, and they all landed for me. I laughed every time he said something. I laughed.
Yeah, there was one sequence whenever they first meet Jenny where he was just spouting off these lines, dude. And we were crying, like our theater was dying. So I agree with that.
But, I mean, I think a lot of the other stuff, it seemed kind of childish to me, some of the jokes.
Fart.
Yeah, the bug fart. I was like,
But there were some funny lines at the end of the movie, too, with the AI. You'll see it when you get to it. But it was like, I don't know, there was some stuff that hit and there was some stuff that didn't. It kind of felt in the middle to me.
Yeah, I agree. And the stuff that hit, I mean, I thought it was genuinely very funny.
But the stuff that missed was also very...
it was
cringe.
Just like, it was kind of cringe. I was like, ah.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in the middle with humor. Like, just for George Lopez, I can give it a solid 7.5 because it's George Lopez. I thought his jokes kind of landed.
I think in general he stood out to me. I'm glad that he's going to be in the DCU.
Yeah.
I guess this movie isn't in the DCU because Superman Legacy is the first DCU movie.
But he's the first DCU character.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. I really enjoyed his character.
And speaking of characters, I think it's a good time to talk about Blue Beetle. We don't really know much about Blue Beetle comics wise. From what I've seen from like games like Injustice 2 and stuff like that, where I feel like people have done a decent representation of the character, I would say that the way that I can't remember his name, the way that the guy that played Blue Beetle played the character, played Jaime in Blue Beetle, was pretty solid. Like I really enjoyed his character, and I want to know more about Blue Beetle after watching this movie. Like, I want to see him more on the big screen because I feel like he deserves it. He's a very niche character. Like got niche powers and stuff like that, but he has the potential to be like DC Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think he was. I mean, all around he's really good, and this movie was made before James Gunn took over.
Yeah.
So, but I think if James Gunn directs, Blue Beetle 2 maybe, or if they,
Blue Beetle 1 Part 2.
Yeah, or whatever they do, I think, or whoever directs it, I think his character's in a very good spot.
Yeah.
And I really, the previews, I don't know what the weekend numbers are looking like, but I really feel like this movie should have gotten more.
I think we said that about The Flash, too.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I really enjoyed his character.
We're nearing the end of this. We'll talk about the score. What'd you think about it?
I thought it was pretty solid, actually.
Yeah, it had some synths in there. Like, it felt pretty... It felt different enough to not be normal, I would say.
I thought it was pretty solid. It kind of took me by surprise a little bit. I mean, I wasn't expecting, I wasn't expecting anything going into it. Just wasn't on my mind, the score. I was more interested in learning the character. And then, like, I consciously thought about the score while watching. I was like, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was also consciously thinking about it. And I was, usually whenever I hear something, I'm like, oh, I might add that to my playlist later. Usually that warrants like an 8.5 for me. Like, even if I just think about it, not even if I do it. But, I would say the score was pretty good. Anything else that we're missing?
We usually talk about innovations, the very last thing, but
innovation
or conflict.
Oh yeah, we've kind of touched on that already. But if you want to do a specific thing on it,
I think it's pretty good.
Okay, all right. So that's our opinions on the Blue Beetle. Obviously take this with a grain of salt. We're no professional movie critics. We just got a YouTube channel where we share our opinions. So what's your rating on this movie?
I'd give it probably a 7 or 7.5. I think
I'm sitting around a 6.5 or 7 for me.
I really enjoyed, especially the first 2 acts. I really, really enjoyed. I mean, I was invested in the whole thing, and then, like I said, the third act kind of fell a little flat for me.
Yeah,
that's when I think the jokes didn't start landing as hard, and it just some of it didn't make sense.
Yeah, some of it didn't make sense. It just got a little cringe, and like I feel like if you want a movie to ascend on our ranks, especially mine, like I feel like it needs to be pretty airtight in terms of, like, I can overlook a lot as long as your acting is really, really good. Like I can, because I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're watching. These are just people on a screen. It's like watching a play in a theater. Like sometimes the set doesn't matter as much as the actors on the stage. And I feel like sometimes when it got a little bit cringe, it just took me out a little bit. I don't know. And especially after watching like masterclass films like Oppenheimer, maybe my standards are higher, but I think that's a good thing in a way.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference between like something like the bug fart and then like a joke that they had earlier in the movie that's like it's awkward funny, if that makes sense.
Yeah, kind of like I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so I mean somewhere in the third act, I didn't enjoy as much as the first 2, but I really did enjoy the first 2 acts. So yeah. I'm at like a 7.5, I think.
And I feel like that's a good place to leave this. I'm glad Blue Beetle is going to be in the DCU. I hope we get to see a lot more of him. I hope James Gunn takes his character and elevates him from where he's at now, even though I thought they did a pretty good job handling him. Yeah. So I feel like the DC's just in a weird spot right now.
Yeah, it's tough. It's sad to see because this is a pretty good movie. I mean, I hope it has legs and it doesn't have a big drop off in the second and third weekends. But
yeah, I mean, you just got to keep in mind that with the SAG-AFTRA strikes or whatever, they can't really promote the movie. So that was up to influencers on Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. And this movie really was just doomed from the start. If it doesn't do well, that's why. If it does do well, that speaks to the testament of DC fans. But you know the meme. So
I feel like it's kind of like Mission Impossible. It just got screwed over a little bit because Mission Impossible was sandwiched
between 2 of the biggest movies of the summer. So
yeah.
I just don't. DC's just in a weird spot right now because they're releasing the tail end of the Snyderverse, and Zack Snyder's obviously gone, so they're releasing the tail end of what he's, I guess, started in a way.
And he promoted this movie.
Yeah, and he promoted this movie, but it just, I feel like fans are just not tuned into that anymore, and I feel like DC definitely needs just a fresh restart, detached completely from where they're at now, because it's got so many connotations and so many opinions, and just start over. And don't care about what people say, and hopefully the fans and the general audiences will show up.
Yeah, and Aquaman is also kind of screwed.
Yeah, Aquaman is gonna get a 5-piece mixed screwed.
So I mean, really, the new start is going to be Superman Legacy, and I'm rooting for that movie hard.
Oh yeah, and you got a lot of people that are rooting against the movie, which I think is just so horrible. Like if you're a diehard DC fan, why are you rooting so hard against this? I mean, we need
to unite a little bit. We need to.
Y'all starting to turn into Star Wars fans. What is this?
Yeah, so I mean, we love Zack Snyder's and James Gunn. I mean, we enjoy both of their movies. So I mean, we're just excited to see where DC goes.
Yeah, exactly. I had no problem with Zack Snyder, but at the end of the day, he was a product of somebody who honestly really did get the short end of the stick. But that's just the way it happens sometimes, and you can't really control that as a fan. That's up to the executives. So just let James Gunn do what he does. We've seen Guardians, and all of the Guardians movies have been good.
Peacemaker, and I think Suicide Squad.
Peacemaker and Suicide Squad are some of the best, a lot of people's best DC movie of all time. So I think Superman Legacy, especially with the way that it seems like the plot is heading, I think it's going to be really good. So I'm definitely excited to see it. I hope to like Superman a lot more after that movie as well. So DC, we hope you do well. That's all I'm saying. So let us know what you guys think about everything we just talked about, and thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.